Okay, it's time to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, is nap some of this glass that you can pick up at Hobby Lobby. It's for stained glass applications, stained glass windows. I got some pieces here several years ago. You can see by the layer of dust. I think this is a black. It might. I'm hoping it's solid all the way through. I think this white stuff is. This stuff is interesting. Sometimes it has a wavy surface on it. That was not bad. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, I think it's smooth enough to cut easily. All right, I think that's it. All right. So I just use a couple tools here. You can find these, I think, also at Hobby Lobby. All right, you need the pliers to break the glass and the cutter. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. You can do it fancy or you can just wing it like I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna wing it and try to cut some pieces out. You can see the score line there. It's pretty easy to do that. If I can do it, you can do it. All right, and then you use the pliers to apply pressure right on that score line. Snaps it right down. Okay, so then I have to score this. Is it in view? Yeah. See the score line? You just put this on top of there. Piece of cake. All right. Theoretically. Now, what is the dimension of this? 1 5/8 by 7/8. What if you want a hunting point? Let's try something a little bit bigger. Again, I'm just winging it. We'll see what happens. Okay, not much pressure at all. All right, super easy to cut this stuff. All right, to nap this stuff, that's the problem. All right, let's get into it. Now, why do I choose this stuff? Because this actually looks like rocks. Right, there's some rocks that look like that. I probably could have cut that better. Hold on. Let's use our noggin instead of just winging it really badly. I'm going to cut diagonally. Doesn't matter if it's straight. It does kind of matter when you're trying to use the pliers. All right, let me see. Let me do this here. When you use the pliers on an edge that's slanted, sometimes it doesn't work as good as a straight. There it goes. All right. So if these are diagonal, yeah, that might be better. Might look better. Can you see? No. See, it has a little wheel on there. That's what does the scoring. And then you find the score line. All right, diagonal, better. Because that looks a little bit too straight. All right, where am I? Here I am. So is this mostly pressure flaking? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna cheat and use the steel indirect percussion tool. Wait, I'll get to napping here in a second. I gotta put my gaiters on because this is glass. Before I get glass all in my shoes. And I can't, this is a type of glass you can't see. Even though it has a color to it, it's hard to see when you've got little shards in your socks. You might say, well, I don't need to see it. I just need to shake out the socks and stuff. Yeah, well, it's better if you can see it. All right, let's see. Now, last time I tried napping this, it napped like hard candy. Which is to say, it was really bad. Okay? But if it can be napped. Now, what are the limitations? Well, if you don't care about having flakes all the way across, then it's a piece of cake. But if you want it fully flaked, that's when it gets to be a problem. Now, it looks like it might have layers in it, so that might present a problem or a challenge. Why am I using indirect percussion? Well, just basically to shape it. I suppose I could just continue to use the cutter and then make it more pointy. Let's see. Do I have a piece of wood? Yes, I do. Okay. Are we ready now? So what do I do? I think this piece is actually too big. What's the dimension? 2 3/8 by 1. Yeah, this is pushing it. So I don't think I'll be able to flake all the way across, but that's what this video is for, to see if we can do it. Last time I made an arrowhead out of this stuff, hold on, it was very, very small. I think it was a half inch wide or less, and maybe an inch long. Really tiny. And I said, man, this is like napping hard candy. But I've got more proficient at napping with pressure flaking, so maybe I can do it. As some people are waiting. Yeah, nap the Hobby Lobby glass, man. Do it. I want to see it. Yeah, I want to see it too. It's not bad. So it's going to look like I don't know what I'm doing until the end, until it's finished. Because, like I said, it's been a while. Now, I've been napping Obsidian lately, so that helps to, you know, get in the right mindset. It looks like it's going to be all right. But I think it's too wide for me to run long flakes. Across the face. What I'm doing now is I'm doing the typical eliminating the square edge, because I don't like napping off of the square edge. I could start by pushing flakes off right now and try to go across, but I don't normally nap that way. I can try and see how far I can send a flake. Yeah, it goes away. It goes halfway. Yeah, might not be too bad, but it takes a lot of meat out of the slab. So, what about the other side? I might not be able to do the other side. It might get too thin. So what I'm going to do is just get the general shape first and make it a little more narrow. I'll get to knapping here in a minute. I'm just dealing with the issues right now. See, if I do too much pressure flaking in the beginning, I'm getting too many shards of glass all over me. But I don't want it to be too small. A lot of people don't like the small ones, the really tiny arrowheads. That would be cheating also. So I'm just pushing on the top. It's creating a little bit of an angle. Okay. That's all. It's also getting me used to the material. Yeah, this stuff is just like glass. Where it is glass, it jumps everywhere. Now, you might be saying, well, can you just use it like that? Can you just haft it right now like this? Yeah, you can haft it right now like that. It's just not very refined or anything. It's just pretty cruddy. But yeah, I mean, if you have to make an arrowhead in 5 minutes, you just bevel it. After you do, you know, several dozen of these, you can get used to beveling the edge. You don't even need to send flakes across the surface if you want to improvise. Alright, it's not working with that fat tip. Let's do a little bit of thinner tip. And when I say not working, it's just crushing everything. I don't want to work off of crushed edges. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit better. It's just basically straight down from the surface. It's just a 16-penny nail filed down to be, you know, long and thin. All right, so I got the square edge off of everything all the way around. All right, so it's just a matter of seeing if I can flake. Flaking like a normal piece of obsidian or whatever, or normal flake, perfectly flat flake. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's try to do this so that let's try to do this and hope the camera doesn't start messing up. Okay. So I just took off the square edge because I hate square edges. So now I'm just going to make the edge a little bit thinner by sending in flakes that are not very long, just little flakes. And that angle makes it a little bit easier to send flakes in. I'm doing this quickly because that's just the way I knap. I'm not all patient with it. Okay, let's see. Supposedly that angle is okay. Okay, And some spots I didn't get quite the angle I needed. Alright, so just quickly, randomly, that's what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, it's just random flaking. Well, it is kind of sequential, right? Because I'm going down and making a pass, but it's not like I'm planning on each flake. I'm just seeing what happens. And there's no step fracturing going on as far as I can see. If I start getting lots of step fractures, I'll change my strategy. Right now what I'm trying to do is get a lenticular shape. All right. Yeah, I'm using a coarse abrader just to get it worked down fast, but I should be using a finer abrader. Oh, I'm getting itchy from these glass flakes. At this preliminary stage, I don't need to be all kind of fancy and patient. I'm just going to get through this stage quickly. See what we got. See how difficult it is to run these. Come on. It's not that difficult. The hard part is going to be not breaking it at the end. This is not the hard part. And I'm not trying to send them in very far. What I'm trying to do is get a lenticular shape. If you don't know what that means, I'm trying to get the surface convex and not flat. You know, I'm trying to thin down the edges first, and then I'll regularize it after I do this process, and then I'll be more careful about sending flakes to the middle. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to get a biface with a little bit of flat in the middle. I realize there's going to be some original surface in there, but I don't care right now at this stage. I'm almost thinking it's not necessary to grind at this stage. can't see. I'm pushing a little bit inward so I can get those flakes to travel inward a little bit. But I'm not trying to go all the way across. I'm just trying to thin down the edges. All right. Anything else? Yeah. One more pass on this side. All right, let's take a look. All right. So just quickly, I just haphazardly made the edges thinner. This is less than 1/8 of an inch thick, right? It's only a few millimeters. Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 millimeter. Three millimeter. Yeah, that's an 1/8. Okay. All right. So 1/8 of an inch thick is not very thick. So that's like already, if it's a 1 inch, it's 8 to 1. That's a really thin preform right now. All right. I prefer to start with a 4 to 1. This is like 8 to 1. So that's half as thick as I prefer to start with. But it could be interesting. I'm going to take back a lot of the edge with the coarse abrader. It's too big. It's too big to be any fun to nap, so I'm taking it back a little bit more. And I'll regularize that edge. Now, is it going to be a convincing looking arrowhead? It might be. Convincing, you know, is it going to look like real stone? It has some translucency, of course. It's going to look like a fancy heat treat. Now, the problem with this, see how it's the pattern goes this way like this? Well, okay, I thought it was not going to match up on the other side, but it matches up okay. See, this pattern is a little bit different than this pattern, but I think it's okay. It'd be better if you could see that white stripe on this side as well. You know what I mean? As an example, see that lighter stripe right there? There's no lighter stripe on this side, but I mean, it's one of those minor details that gives it away. If it was a real stone, you could see that stuff equally on both sides. But since it's glass and it's made in 2 layers, I guess, it's not quite like a stone. So, but overall, it might look pretty good. But we'll see. I took my glove off because this is the more delicate part. This is regularizing it, and it's more like a regular piece of obsidian right now, or stone heat treat, because it is now lenticular, where the edges are thin and not squared off. So everything from this point on is like a regular stone or piece of obsidian. You know, I gotta look for the original surface and make sure there's none on there when I'm done. But everything else now is like a regular stone. This snaps much easier than heat treat. Very light pressure. Okay. It still feels a little bit like rock candy. It does feel like it's going to snap in half here in a minute. Once I get more narrow. It's not going to like me thinning it down. I could tell already. And yes, I'm going to have to thin it down a little bit, especially if I want the tip to look like it's tapered in thickness. Because usually with slabs, it's just the same thickness all the way down. It looks way too straight. And we might not be able to avoid that with this particular piece. But I would like to get it tapered from the center to the tip. Get it tapered down so it looks more natural. Now, does copper work better than steel? Yep, but I don't use copper because there's too much maintenance. I've said that over and over again, but a lot of you guys are just new. You've never tuned in before, and this is the first time you tuned in because I've got stained glass Arrowhead or whatever as a description. So you don't know my usual knapping. So I gotta tell you. So what am I doing? It's just regularizing. I'm trying to make the edge look more regular. And I'm getting used to it, you know, as far as the nappability of it. The glove is getting in the way. But I'm not going to take the glove off because it's glass. Pushing inward a little bit, see if I can start thinning it. Yeah, I think the biggest obstacle here is just not being able to see properly. Yeah, so if it does have layers in it, it's not interfering with the flaking, as far as I can tell. Well, I guess it obviously has layers, and I don't feel any interference with the flaking. It feels solid. right, so what do we got? What's the verdict? We're going to have to go more narrow. Maybe a little bit. The glove really is getting in the way, so here we go. I'm going to risk it. Alright, so what I'm going to try to do, regularizing it, I'm having a very difficult time seeing the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do random pressure flaking here and there to see if I can run flakes across to get rid of the original surface. If I can't get rid of the entire original surface, I'm not going to worry about it. No. So I'm going to be doing this all randomly now. And see how it works out. It's not going to be a patterned flaking attempt. That's for another time. Right now, I'm just going to see if I can do this randomly. So I might zone out and not talk during this process. I'll be checking and flaking and checking, looking for stiff fractures here and there. Checking to see how far I can flake. I really can't see the edge very well. So once I get it fully flaked, I'll be able to just shape it and notch it. Yeah, this side is going to be easy, but flipping it over and thinning it down even more, that's going to be the hard part. Now this tip has a little bit of flexibility to it, so that helps a little bit to drive the flakes. And if you can't hear me very well, I apologize. I have to have my face kind of far away from the microphone so I don't get showered with glass into my face. Because these little flakes really do jump a lot, as with any glass. But these seem to be jumping quite a bit. So my face is far away from the microphone on the phone. Camera phone. Phone camera. There's a spot there. There's a spot up here. There's various spots. If I can't get them, I'm not going to worry about it. If I can't get all of it. So yeah, I'm going to focus on one side first, and then hopefully it won't be too thin to do the other side. All right. You know what I mean? I'm going to fully flake this side, and then I'm going to switch over to the other side. And hopefully it won't be too thin. And if it snaps in half, we got lots more. Oh yes. There's no shortage of this material. They got tons of it at the store. No big deal. Now, would you want to go hunting with something like this? I would not, no. But it's, you know, nothing wrong with that. I just wouldn't do it. Why? Because it's so darn thin. I'd be afraid that I wouldn't be able to safely eat the meat because they have all kinds of glass pieces in there. This is one of those one-shot deals. One-shot Arrowhead deal. This will not, well, I won't say it will not, but the chances of this thing surviving intact without shattering all over the place, it's not very good. Yeah, so I'm not going to push my luck. If there's still some original surface, yeah, there is right there. I'm not going to worry about it. See that right there? And I think there's some down here. I'm not going to worry about it. Nope. So now I'm going to move the edge to the other side. Now, how sharp is this going to be when I'm finished? I don't know yet. We shall see. Probably going to be just spatula tool sharp, because all I'm going to do is press downward, just like I'm doing right now. I might take the spatula tool and at the end, and after I notch it, just sharpen it with the spatula tool. That's not the sharpest possible when you do it that way, but it's easiest. So yeah, this particular tool is working out well. I do have a step fracture on the edge there. It's not a perfect edge. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Come on. I see some step fracturing on this side, so I'm trying to get rid of it. So hold on. Why don't I practice this off camera before I do it? Because I'll never shoot the video. I'll be practicing all day and I'll go, man, I don't feel like shooting the video. Why? Because practicing off camera, a lot of times I just want to do it too perfectly. I'll spend all day practicing and I won't feel like doing anything on video. That's just the way I am. Yeah. I guess I'll get bored with it or something. That's the way it usually goes. See, there's a little bit of a weird spot here. It is tapering down a little bit. I think the layers do make a difference, or they are making a difference in the napping, because it's strangely crunchy right there. I usually have trouble with the tips anyway, but there's just a strange little crunchy area right there. I'm going to start sending flakes on the other side. Okay, not worry about that crunchy spot. Yeah, I'd rather do just one big flake every now and then than a bunch of little narrow, long ones. Just one big, flat, long flake every once in a while. Start from the other end. That was right here. I suppose I did travel all right. Now it wants me to push way too hard. Yeah. It wants me to snap it. But they do travel. The flakes do travel okay. if I can see the area where I can initiate the flake, it would be better. There's a little bit of step fracturing going on, but not much. Just barely. It's actually flaking better than I thought it would. I spoke too soon. I'm trying to thin down a thin piece, and that's what I get. Let's see. I'm just going to try not to send them too far. I'm going to try not to flake it really far, like that I did on that one. If I try to take too much, I'm going to get step fracturing. So I'm going to back off a little bit. Yeah. I might not be able to reach that area. Oh, that was not bad. Yeah, so very light pressure with some follow through, and it looks like it will be all right. There's still a little bit of the original surface there. Okay. So the only problem is this little step fracture area. Let's see. Let's see if I can minimize that. So this steppy area there. It's not all that noticeable. Yeah, it's really thin. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if it'll break. And yes, I'm going to try to thin it down even more, just so I can get a taper. You know, taper toward the tip. But I might not be able to. Okay, I don't know. Onward and upward. I'm just going to sharpen up the edge. I just ground it a little bit. So now I have to remove the grinding. See, I took a little bit too much off of here. Yeah. There's a little bit of crunchiness. Yeah. I don't know if it's me or the glass. Okay. I'm not going to try to do anything fancy anymore. If it's not tapered toward the tip, oh well. I just want to try to minimize the step fracturing. Okay. Is there like a bevel on here? There is kind of like a bevel on this side. Do I want a bevel? No, I don't. All that just to get that shape. Of course, now that I got one under my belt, the next one won't take this long. I don't know how to make it look more natural. It still looks like glass. Yep. I'm trying to put some randomness into it, but I don't think it's working all that well. What I'm ending up with is random step fractures So I guess it's better that I try to knap it like one of those flake over grind pieces. Or a tiny slab, you know. So what am I doing? I'm just trying to shape it now. Shape it, send in some flakes that are not step fracture flakes. Get that tip narrow and pointy. I'm trying to make the edge feel sharp. But since this is all random, there's some thick spots every now and then. That's all right. So those thick spots are not going to be sharp in many cases, unless I'm really careful and remove those thick spots. Okay. I'm going to put in a concave base. Yeah, it naps surprisingly easily, right? I'm surprised that it's snapping this easily. Either I have more experience or it's just a better quality glass than I had last time. or maybe both. I would like to send some flakes into that area, but we'll see. There's a little bit of the original surface there. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, the serrated edge is the easiest on glass. In case you didn't know, just leave it all jaggedy. I really should grind it. Okay. I'm still trying to sharpen it down here a little bit. I notice the edge is a little thick in this area. There's still some original surface. It's risky to do the large flakes. Okay. All right, so I don't see much of the original surface anymore. There's a one little triangle spot right there. See that? Everything else looks all right. The tip is still a little fat, but I'm worried that I'll break it off if I go any thinner. Yeah, I can't see. Yeah. All right, I'm going to redo the tip because apparently I can't make an arrowhead without breaking the tip off at least once. Okay. I can't see really. That's the big issue, is not being able to see. All right. I don't know. I don't know if that helps. Or if I get glare or something. I think that might help a little bit. Yeah, moving the lamp. Probably should have moved it earlier, huh? I don't know. I'm trying to keep it in focus. All right, where are we? Yeah, the spatula tool seems to be working pretty good, so I probably should have used it more in the beginning. Or, you know, more toward the middle stage. But I don't know. I can drive longer flakes with the rounded tip. Yeah, I needed to drive long flakes earlier, so scratch that. This is good for the last stage. Although, you know, I could try driving a longer flake with the spatula tool. The hard part is just getting it fully flaked, and then once it's at that stage, it's not that bad. I'm just going to try to put in a little bit more randomness to it. Make it look a little more natural. If there's too many little itty bitty flakes, it just looks strange. Looks too modern with too many flakes. But I guess I can't get away from that look entirely. Anyway, I'm just messing with it right now. I don't have to do anything else to it. I could drive the notches a little deeper, I suppose. Make the base a little more concave. Maybe a little bit of a different design. I don't know. It still looks a little bit artificial, but it's not too bad. Yeah, so in general, it's okay. I mean, I see there's, you can get issues with it, you know. That's probably just me, but it seems like sometimes it's a little bit too crunchy. But that could be just me. It's not that difficult to run flakes across, but you still get that very flat look. I'm afraid to try to taper it because I'll probably snap the tip off. You know, try to taper it really, really thin here at the tip. I'll probably snap the tip off if I did it that way. All right. I spent enough time on it. Okay. Yeah, so there you go. I don't know. Let's see. What can I do? Yeah, like that. Okay. So there you go. Time to go to bed. It worked out okay. All right, that's it.